and hit these buttons and hopefully nothing breaks here. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Discussing Tabletop. Hope you're ready for a nice episode, of course. It is October 18th. Just running through the month of October here.
Yeah, it's going by way too fast.
It does feel that way a little bit. It's this kind of weird point where, like, I was thinking about it, and, like, it just feels like a couple weeks have just slipped by, and it doesn't help for trying to, like, plan out things and, like, putting together stuff. Like, the craziness of the month is just basically, like, I didn't even, like, step and, like, do the normal things I do of, like, more, like, spooky kind of games. I've been doing, like, Resident Evils and stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
We got some interesting things to talk about. A lot of little topics. That's what it kind of ended up being. Like, I started doing the research for this week, and it ended up being like, well, there's not a lot. And then all of a sudden, it's like a lot of little tiny topics, and I'm like, oh, we can do that. We can handle that. I think we talk about some interesting news, and then
I'll find a way to make them way longer than they should be.
that's fine. It's acceptable. And then I got an interesting, deeper discussion topic for us to hit up on. One that I think we sort of haven't talked about, but kind of have. I did try to look into it, and I'm like, we really didn't talk directly about that. Weather in RPGs. Surprisingly, we haven't really talked about it on its own.
You know what? I actually like the idea of you telling me ahead of time, or saying it at the beginning, because that will actually let me think about it a little bit more.
Sure, I'll try to remember to do that a little bit more often.
You don't have to say it on stream, you can just tell me.
I should remember it. That's one of those things I put the docket except for that. Maybe I should also include that in the docket when I post the docket up in Discord. But, well, shall we dive in? And we can start with our first of our many topics, which is an interesting thing because it's one of these things that D&D is going to be bringing us with the favorite book, Alternate Magic Form. And this is one of those things that I'm like, man, you're coming up with good ideas now? Maybe? I'm curious, like how it's going to work with 5.5 and how useful it will be for characters. This is kind of things I'm bringing in of like, this seems neat. How does it work? So
yeah.
Circle Magic's supposed to be like, I guess, group magic is the idea of it. Teamwork magic. So
I see.
Circle Magic is a method of amplifying spells through coordinated teamwork. One caster leads, and the others are secondary casters. Lend their magic to expand, extend, and reshape the spell beyond anything. See, this sounds interesting, but I'm also curious how it will work. And will the 5.5/5E system work well with this? That it won't be basically like a funny little distraction or side thing that's not that as well developed as we'd want it to be. Because again, there's a bunch of things that are like side things that are cool ideas that aren't very well developed in 5/5.5. Secondary casters take the magic action to be near the caster to contribute the spell. If the caster has time longer than action, they must take the magic action in turn to maintain the concentration along with it. Then there's augment, distribute, expand, prolong, safeguard, supplement, or other effects that are supposed to be added to it. So, yeah.
Honestly, it's so funny because I was thinking something, and then I saw someone in the comments say it too, because they have the comments below.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this is more appropriate for like rules for like bad guy casting, because you actually need a group of people who can cast spells.
Yes, I agree. I agree on that one. That's a thought that I wasn't thinking, but as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. This is, but then again, then comes the problem that bad guys don't cast spells anymore. So I guess you'd make them cast spells. Well, remember they do but don't, because remember NPC stat blocks just have a number of times of casting a spell. They don't actually have spell slots anymore.
Yes, but
I guess it's still technically casting a spell. So
like it's still you can use a use of your daily spells,
but
of that level.
I guess so. again, like I
But
think
if I remember correctly, it's like first level spells like 3 times per day, and like
because I remember they simplified it a lot, and that was the thing with NPC/monsters with escape the spells. I talked about how that I remember discussing this, that it was like it's not necessarily a terrible idea in certain circumstances, but it doesn't reflect like when it's a monster that knows some spells. I thought it was fine, but when it's like this is a spellcaster, I felt like it simplified it too much, like with the lich and stuff.
Yeah, I was literally gonna like look up a lich.
Good old lich.
Okay. There we go. Lich.
It casts a circle spell at least
Yeah,
5
so it says
seconds.
at will, 2 per day, 3rd level spell, 4th level spell, and I think that's a 6th level spell, and 1 per day. Yeah, so it's like they don't have spell slots, but I could still see, oh, you give up.
I can see adapting it, but then again, that's the entire thing of then you're homebrewing it. And I think we talked about that, like, you know, that it you can still do that stuff, but you now have to homebrew a lot more of that kind of thing. You have to like kind of like it's been put off of the system and onto DMs, which I'm again not necessarily a fan of shoving that on them without choice. Like I like the option of doing that rather than the force of doing that when you come into problems like this.
Actually, want to know where this would actually also be very useful outside of NPCs? Because again, I still don't think it's a big problem. You just say the NPC.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, again, like
cast a spell. It's not
certainly
even,
speaking, like
yeah.
I'm not going to argue that it's not necessarily a problem. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's not built into the system. It's a cool idea, not built into basically. Yeah.
Another use for this is if the player, that'd be really boring, but it's doable. Where if players are contributing to like a group spell that other NPC spellcasters are working on or something, you know?
Yeah.
So.
But here's the thing.
How many?
Oh, God. Extend its range to 1 mile. I mean, like, that's neat. And, like, for, like, the Doomtide, let's say, when you cast a circle spell with at least 5 secondary casters. And here's the thing. 5? Are you paying for NPCs? Yes. Are you're not going to have 6 people casting this, really, normally.
Yeah, and it might depend a little bit on the rules for what counts as a secondary caster. Maybe you could get, like, an animal companion or something. Although it does say each secondary caster has to do a spell slot, so...
It sustains power until dispelled, 1 mile range, freeing from its limits of the concentration. I mean, like, again, the range is like... It doesn't feel like it needs that with the range. You know, I think, or what do I mean? Range is rarely a problem for spells.
Again, set piece battles, you can do stuff like that. Like, again, I'm not saying there's, like, not ways. It's nice to have rules for stuff like this. I think this is cool. I think it's increased area of effect. I mean, that could be kind of cool for, like, a fireball into, like, a room of enemies. Like, again, like, this is more good against a lot of smaller enemies, most of these things.
Yeah.
Like wartime things or...
Stretch your range by thousands of feet. Like your ally share the burden of
Distribute is really cool. Actually,
influence.
Let your allies share the burden of concentration, keeping the spell's effect steady.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that would work.
Expand the spell's effects for hours beyond its typical duration. Shape the weave to spare your allies of the storm you unleash. Okay, so protect your ally. If they're in the spell, they don't get affected by it. Place the material components with collective strength. Okay, you know, I can see that. Once some spells, like ones that clear below, can produce additional effects with cast circles. It's a thing that, like, are all spells that could be circle spells going to have information? Are they going to be able to be cast with any? There's a lot of questions I have, and again, I agree with you. It's a cool concept, but I need to know more about how well it's being executed, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's also in, you know, this book, things that are, you know, They're pushing really hard that I'm not sure I want to like actually go in on,
Yeah, the Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerun. Well, there's at least physical books of the Heroes of Faerun book, other than just their ultimate bundle, which they keep pushing.
Yeah.
There's a fire somewhere.
But like that's kind of the thing, though. It's just, it's like, even if I want if I want, the other two books, then I still have to buy their bundle, and it's just like, why?
It's this entire mess because they're providing a bundle of small things that they're like encouraging this like big spending, and they're spreading them out between books, and it just feels like they probably could have done one big book with all of these. And I think that's the entire thing of like, this is the fact that it's not just, or even just 2 books. 1 or 2 books, not like the 4 things in the bundle. I think that's definitely not the creators or people developing these rules. That's the higher ups that's doing stuff like this. And yeah, I agree. It's kind of a mess the way they're presenting it. And I'm more and more feeling really kind of bad and negative about this entire thing when it's like, this is a cool concept. Granted, I want to see more about how well it's executed. That's the kind of thing I'm saying about it. But it's a cool concept.
Do you want to know what bothers me the most about all of this? Like, okay, Adventures in the Realm, we have no idea what these books are even going to look like yet, right?
Yeah.
Are they even out? Like, they've been talking about them for months, and we have no idea about their content. Like, the adventures, how is it going to be structured? Like, Storm King's Thunder, they were able to give, like, a synopsis of, And, like, you can decide if you're going to buy it. This is just like, there's these things, buy them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, like, look at the entire thing. The
information
in Forgotten Realms
spread out all over the place.
So tiny. The most expansive take on Forgotten Realms in D&D's history. The Adventures of Forgotten Realms has everything a Dungeon Master needs to tackle this timeless fantasy setting, complete with new stories, lores, locations, encounters, all in one place. That's all they say about it. And then they go into all the bundles and stuff on that one. And the heroes, again, that's the thing. Like, the only thing that's in the heroes book I know about now is Circle Magic.
Yep.
And probably some, like, class options. I assume a few class options, but I'm just assuming because it's called Heroes of Faerun. Class options and Circle Magic. What else do you have? I don't know. They're just saying it has some stuff. We got this cool bundle. Share with it. And again, like, yeah, I do agree. They should have more things like telling us about this Circle Magic for us to know. Because this has been pre-order for some time, and they're giving like weird tiny hints. Or what they're talking about is like, hey, these extra pieces, if you want them, these other parts of the bundle, they're in there too. You want them. You want the other little, like, components in the digital bundle. Come on, get them.
Yeah, what's actually funny is I feel like they've talked more about what's in the bundle the bundle extra options than in the actual books themselves.
Yes, you're right. Oh, you're so right. Because it's like they're talking about like Asterian's Book of Hungers, Nethral's Fall, Lorwyn First Light. They were talking about all of these, these are our extras that are part of the bundle now. You can only get them there. It's been FOMO in D&D. This is not fucking Magic.
I know, like, that's the thing. It's been Magic. Like, and actually, that's exactly where my brain has been. I'm like, they're trying to do what they've been doing in Magic in D&D, and it's just, I don't think it's gonna work. Because, like, my whole thing, like, about D&D books right now are like, okay, D&D's kind of going down the shitter, all their good people are gone. I'm gonna wait till these things come out before I even try. Like, do I need to pre-order them to get these? I don't think so. I think you just need to buy the bundles so you can wait till they come out, but, like, there are going to be other ways to get these. Do you,
yeah, like,
books. Are they gonna, So it's just kind of this thing where I'm just like, I don't even know what's in these books. Why am I gonna buy the whole bundle with them all?
And like, the sheer fact is, the physical and digital editions of them together are so expensive for both of them. While so many places it's like $60 and you get both of them. $100 for both of them.
And the full bundle is $160.
Yeah. And okay,
I mean,
you're saving
the
$20-ish plus also like the you're technically saving money because they're putting a lot of price on a lot of these things. I'm sorry, digital things like these expansions being $15, I think are a lot. Like that's close to like what a full digital book I feel like should be, which normally it is in most cases. Like Paizo, I talk about how they're on the top end of prices for like their digital books, where they're like 20, 25. Yeah, these aren't the full books. Like Asterian's Book of Hungers, 15 on its own. And that's why I think they can put it with the bundle, because they know it's not worth it. But they're like, oh, you got to get the full bundle to get that, or you have to spend a lot on it. It's encouragement of the bundle, putting the prices that high.
It's just so... Again, Circle Magic sounds cool.
I know.
Honestly, with this core concept, I'll devise rules in Pathfinder for how to do this way better.
Yes. I think that's a cool idea of like figuring out a way to like, I'm pretty sure you probably could in second edition you know.
They already have rituals, like, but the idea I'm thinking is like combat, where it's like, okay, if each spellcaster commits an action to a spellcaster who uses 3 actions, then you could do something like bigger, you know, like that's cool, like, you could do something in Pathfinder with that.
Maybe like add some extra dice, add some duration, add some range, do the kind of like little numbers things where they're like, where they're maybe using like an action and a spell slot to like, enhance one big spell, rather than that, and that's a cool concept that I'm pretty sure you could probably develop something into. That would be very neat and probably could be balanced,
Cool. We've developed something they just talked about in passing, and we can honestly, what we've said is that little bit we devise is probably going to be way better than whatever they put out.
Again, like, if we would take what we've seen here and they've shown us, we could probably take that and make up our own thing that kind of uses some of those kind of ideas, range or concentration or stuff like that. But again, they should have just released 1 or 2 books and not this entire mess. And I feel like this mess is just, it's getting worse and worse, and I don't know how well this will do. And it's, at very least, this won't give the wrong message like in Magic. I'll say that, because I'm gonna turn to Magic for just a second, because there's a similar kind of thing to it. I heard the worst thing I could hear. Basically, we've talked about how Spider-Man not very popular.
Yep.
Wizards got their money. Scalpers, because of Final Fantasy, got a lot of that stuff. The product got sold.
Okay.
It doesn't matter that the scalpers lost out on money and might not be back, but the lesson will not be learned for how this was a bad set.
I'm going to be honest, at least the lesson was learned by some scalpers.
Yes, the scalpers might be more cautious about going into Magic than they've been into Pokemon. Pokemon is not Magic. Well, Magic is not Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy sent the wrong message to scalpers saying, yes, please do this. And yeah, I mean, that is annoying that Magic
we just got
sold
their
out.
money.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think they can tell, like, the reception. Like,
the developers will. There are some surveys.
Yeah, there are people who talk about it in their meetings and stuff, and people can figure out. The bad thing is if the overhead goes, we made our money, do it again. And people were like, well, it didn't work. We didn't make our money for the reasons we want, and that's a bad thing. And if we continue this again, it might cause problems. Well, it worked once, do it again. That can happen.
Yeah.
The higher-ups. But that doesn't mean... But, again, people will talk, and it will hopefully...
it's the thing that, like...
make some change, if not a lot. It probably won't be a lot, but it might be some.
It's turning back to D&D here. It's like I'm very disappointed in Wizards and Hasbro, but I do feel like the people that are on the ground level working on it actually feel like they're coming up with some great ideas. I think it's what's going on is the new generation wants to prove themselves,
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. And if they do something good, I'm just worried that the horrific monetization and the stuff that Wizards is doing is going to wreck the cool ideas they're having for, honestly, maybe making 5.5 a better game. And I'm okay with them making it a better game. That's something that I feel like should be done. You know?
There's definitely some things that need some fixing and stuff. Like they need to redo the Ranger again. But
Poor Ranger.
you know,
Poor Ranger never can get a break.
you know.
Yeah. So,
But yeah.
Circle
Anyway,
Magic.
that's my whole thing here. Is just like, yeah, how's this gonna work for NPCs? Because technically, it don't work that way. Yes, you can kind of jury rig it pretty easily, but then players, really, you're expecting 5 players in a team to all be spellcasters?
I think it's not unheard of, but there are enough non-spellcasting classes that make it a rarity that I think they're just not well.
Well, the thing is you need to have 3rd level spells. So if someone's playing a ranger, they don't get 3rd level spells till I think level like 11.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Especially if you're doing like the Doom Tide, let's say. You know, that's the one that uses
well, no,
the 3rd level
both
spell
the
slot.
examples use 3rd level plus slots.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I see that now. Ooh, interesting. I don't know. I think it's better as an option that you don't need to build around. And this sounds like it has something that you have to build around. And I think that's where it might be going the wrong direction. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like if you're doing it in Pathfinder, you know, maybe you still have to like take a class feat to be able to access, you know, like it's like a type of circle magic. But where that's a small investment to make a bigger bonus, something like in 5e, where maybe you have to have your entire class built around having spell slots.
Okay, Ranger gets their 3rd level slots at level 9. That's still, honestly,
still pretty big chunk into your levels.
And if you're even doing like the tertiary casters like Eldritch Knight, you know.
Yeah. And it's that thing of, I'm pretty sure even with the update in the system, we haven't necessarily walked away from your average game going to about that level. You know, that 10th level is kind of the top. 10th to 12th level, I think, was always the top level of 5.
Yeah, 12th was kind of the cap. I mean, they didn't fix any of the problems. That's the issue, is they didn't fix any of the things they said they were going to fix with regards to higher level games.
That's true.
Because basically they're like, oh yeah, I mean, maybe they probably did redo a lot of the upper level monsters, but the big issue is they didn't give any advice for how to like create bigger monsters. Like, this is the thing, it still takes a lot of work for a GM to like figure out like what's going on, like a GM to learn how to balance for higher level stuff.
Yes.
Tertiary casters get 3rd level slots at 13th level.
It's hard to balance at any level. I'll always go back to, I was making like a CR like 4 creature and comparing a whole bunch of different ones to try to figure out what the kind of stats were. That was a bitch. Because again, they're not all the same. So trying to figure out like where to kind of place it. Yeah, you got a kind of like an area, but you're also like, I don't want to like, it's the Bugbear or Shadow for low level play. Those are the top end of those CRs, and they suck to fight, you know?
Yep.
So it's sort of like, I don't want to do that. I want to be with the others, but I don't want to be too weak. It's finding that balance. It's not easy. And it takes time.
Yep.
And they don't have, they've never had good rules for that anyway, so I guess that's the entire thing. Is maybe one, I was going to say maybe one day they'd have good rules, and I'm like, oh no, they're probably never going to. Well,
yep.
So Circle Magic, it's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best I can say about it. We should move on. Let's talk about some Achtung Cthulhu, because they're going to Norway. Yes, your Eldritch Horrors and Nazi Adventures is going to Norway. We're in World War II with the Norway project, which is technically on pre-order right now. And it's going to be coming out, and it's basically information on Norway and a little bit of a campaign supplement for Achtung Cthulhu from 1942. So, honestly, I think there's a cool. I like it that they're supporting a lot of Achtung Cthulhu. It's one of those ones that I think like it came out good number of years ago, because I think I talked about it originally when Discussing Tabletop was a lot early on in its tenure at this point in time, its age, and it's always been interesting to see that it's like one of those little like brands that Modifius has that they keep putting stuff out for, and actually pretty decent stuff out for. This is a supplement for a region, for adventures, and some campaigns that you can run. That's a lot, you know? It's not a little supplement. It's a full-on supplement they're putting out for it. So, yeah. Apparently there's another. There's a cult doing stuff with Azathoth, good old Azathoth, and what else is there? Art, Hound Dance, and stuff like that. So yeah, this isn't going to come out properly until January. So it's kind of like pre-order, but I assume that the PDF is available now. Wow, that's pretty early for the PDF. I guess
usually the PDF is released. Funny enough, 9%, like a bunch of the time when you do this, they tend to be.
I was just thinking that like normally it's like a month out between the PDF and the physical book, but I guess like maybe they just have it now, so they're just putting it out now. Because that's what, like 2.5, 3 months before the physical book's done. That's not terrible. I just feel it's like a little long, in between there. But you can start on it now. It's some 2D20 World War II Cthulhu action. So yeah, there's that little thing there. I thought it was an interesting one that they're continuing their little adventures with. So wanted to shout that one out, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one of those games that I keep thinking about. Like it would be interesting to try out. It's a different direction for like Cthulhuian / Eldritch horror.
Yeah.
Because certainly with like a more direct enemy, it's not like Call of Cthulhu, where it's like more nebulous, or the Cult of the Weak kind of thing. I feel like not to insult the game there, but it's a different style.
Yeah. Come on, give me a date. I've been looking for the date that it came out.
The original Achtung Cthulhu.
Well, there's the original, but apparently this is the
2D20 version.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just like, so yeah, this isn't actually that old.
No, I think the 2D20 is newer, but I don't remember when.
I want to say 2020.
Yeah, that's okay. That's still a good distance, but yeah, that's
actually it may even be. No, maybe it was. I saw something like 2025, but I'm like, that feels too recent. Or 20. Sorry, not 2025. 20 something. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh no, I did see 2020.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Was in
Achtung
2021. The 20.
Yep, I was about to say.
2020 was 2021.
Mm-hmm. The original was.
Because there's the video. I'm looking up, and they're mentioning the video game, but I think there was one before the video game that was like a physical book, wasn't there?
So there was an Achtung Cthulhu before the D20. The D20 one came out in 2021.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the older non 2D20 one, but I think because they've pushed the 2D20 one a lot, it's harder to find that. Yeah.
I mean, let's see. Search Legacy. Modifius calls it the Legacy version.
Oh, Legacy version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to like figure that out. Yeah, I can't.
That's what they. Yeah.
Oh, Achtung Cthulhu Legacy. Let's just see here. I can find the Legacy. Can I find the core book here?
Yeah, I can't find the core. Was this based off something else? Like, was Achtung Cthulhu?
There was a miniatures game. But there was a skirmish game. I think was maybe the original start of it. Was a skirmish game. Because then there was a skirmish game, and I think it was kind of like a hybrid skirmish game or RPG, like Fallout Wasteland Warfare. No, is that Wasteland Warfare? Is the major one, the mixed one?
2014.
2014 was, I think, the original like release of anything Achtung Cthulhu related. Because I remember.
Yeah, that's the Fate version.
Okay, that's the Fate version. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know there was like the Fate version and the miniatures game, and then the video game came out, and then the 2D20 came out. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was the release of the Fate version, which is the first thing put out by Modiphius, as far as like.
Okay. It's weeding through the mess of some of these games. Always.
Well, the problem is most things actually will put like their release date on their in their description, but Modiphius does not, and it bothers the hell out of me that they don't.
I have also noticed that, and it is another one of those things that I'm just like, when is this released? I keep thinking that too. I'm like, when was this released? When did you put that out?
So it's always annoying with Modiphius to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Damn you, Modiphius. Damn you. So yeah.
Actually, I just remembered a way that I tend to do that is like go and look up their product on DriveThru RPG, where it really was the day it was uploaded. I forgot about that. I normally do that.
That's a good one. Yeah. But yeah, here's Achtung Cthulhu heading to Norway. Yes, they continue. They're doing. I think they like that they have a lot of these systems more stabilized under 2D20. So I think that also helps too.
I think it's helpful because, like, let me put it this way: like, if you have a system, a fairly consistent system, it allows for a lot of cross compatibility.
Yeah.
So, like, if you like the stats of the equipment in this game, you could probably use for, Fallout.
Probably for Fallout. I could see that for Fallout, definitely. There probably is a little bit of adaptation between them, but it's kind of like that light adaptation. It's kind of like, honestly, Starfinder 2nd Edition, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. They're fairly cut and dry. Like, you're probably gonna have to do a little bit of playing around, but not a lot. Probably like one step rather than like 5, which is sometimes between different games like that. Honestly, that's they made that on purpose that way, but I think this is the systems are very similar to each other in that, basically. So let's continue on though, because hey, this is one of those ones that I'm very interested about, because I'm a big Shadowrun fan, and they're coming out with a core rulebook for Magic, and it's 6th edition.
I'm gonna tell you right now, yeah, it would definitely be easy, because I'm like looking at the profile. Like in Fallout, there's speed, cover, scale, impact, passengers, weapons, and in like this one, there's scale, stress, armor, brawn, injuries, speed. So it's like there's a lot of similar things, and they also have passengers and some other stuff. So it's like I have a feeling that like it'd be pretty mixable, and I bet some of those things that were different are probably the same.
Yeah.
Like if you actually
it's
it's just a different word.
The tri-stat system is going to have the similar of similar kind of combos of things between all of them, and it's just sort of like figuring out where they adapt to each other. But yeah, so a big Magic book for spellcasting, basically being a much more comprehensive rules list. There's that thing about like Shadowrun 6th edition, which I think they're doing better, but it's taking them so long. They took away so much complexity going from 5th to 6th edition, and they're adding some of that back in slowly, which is good. But I think it's that kind of like, it's taking a very long time to get to that, they went too far and they're building back up to a more reasonable.
Didn't it like take them 3 years to read their first expansion to it too? Or it was something ridiculous like that?
It's been a mess trying to like basically put back a lot of what they removed. It's a thing that like I don't think 6th edition isn't bad, but it's too simple for what Shadowrun needs to do in a lot of shapes for the complexity of the world. And I think that's the problem I go with it for. They simplified things a little too much for my taste. And I certainly I think was it maybe Momo was talking to had tried out 6th edition, also kind of had that complaint too. but like, I'm sure there are people that like the system because that's the first. Again, if it's the first system you came into, I understand you're not used to anything different, and maybe like this will get you back in, so we have like a middle ground. So again, a much more detailed magical system is good. I do think by the time we get to 5th edition, Shadowrun's magic system isn't bad. It's still a little complex, but it wasn't bad by then. They had managed to streamline a lot of what was there. Off the top of my head, I probably couldn't give you a good example of that simplification because it has been a lot of years since I dove into the full things about it. But it's like, you have to think about 6th edition
They've been
Shadowrun.
releasing things consistently. I don't know why I thought it was...
It's an easier system in a lot of ways. I think it's just the way you have to say it. Like, again, it's been a while since I dove deep into the mechanics of it because I deal with lore at this point in time, and I haven't talked about Shadowrun mechanics for any edition in like years at this point in time. But I do remember like going deep into them briefly. It's kind of like the same way like I've gone into a lot of those things. Again, I'm not saying it's not necessarily bad as a different kind of thing, and it wasn't my cup of tea. That's just me, you know. And I like that we're getting some stuff back, that we're adding in these layers, which might help for like the old guard to maybe then try out some 6th edition. Again, we need like having a need for these books kind of sucks, but maybe that's where it is. Like, you know, for those of us that liked a lot of that.
Some games are like that. Like I'm gonna be honest, like. Traveler is exactly the same, where it's like the core book is pretty simple, and they literally have like 2 supplements that are like kind of needed to actually play the game properly.
Yeah.
But then again, Traveler also has a lot of historical stuff which you can look on. That's like that's kind of on the same route.
Well,
and
again, it's that difference between I remember trying out many years ago the older Traveler, and then with you I tried the new Traveler, and it was night and day. I'm sorry, that's one of those things is the newer Traveler is a lot more streamlined and simple and easier to play. And yes, you need a lot of these books, and they've built up to a point in time where they're at the right complexity. But I can see that, like, you know, it needed that. And that's why I can't say, like, necessarily Shadowrun doesn't need that simplification. Honestly, I did think it needed. I said, I think it did still need some simplification. I just think they went a little too far. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and that's an important thing is you got to know your audience. Like Shadowrun has always been a little bit more complicated, so if you simplify it too much, you're trying to reach the mainstream, but if you don't have your regulars on board, then you can't. Then it's not gonna work right, because like you need them to bring in the new people. You need a simplified system to bring in new. That's basically why 5th edition became so popular. It was simplified, but it was like. In a weird way, honestly, I think a 7th edition might actually cause a similar thing, where because like D&D with 4th edition, like everyone hated it, so nobody played it, and when it was 5th edition, everyone went back to it, but it was also simpler. So because it was so much better than the previous edition, it brought in a lot more people because the old guard wanted to try the new one, which was better than the second one.
It's the thing I will say here is, I am not much of a one to say no to playing 6th edition. But I will only run 5th edition if I run Shadowrun. That's kind of where I'm at. I like that level of stuff. But again, like I understand where you keep it simple. But if someone invited me to a 6th edition game, I'd probably be fine playing it. I just, you know, that's kind of where it is at it. And it's definitely an interesting direction to be in. I'm curious as to how this is that thing I'm curious about, because I know Shadowrun has its popularity, but it's not cyberpunk. And so it's sort of like it's always been this weird, interesting niche in the RPG community, and like not necessarily unpopular, but not like, you know, hitting the levels of some of the other games. And then like, how is it divided in the current population? I'm not sure. How many people are in on 6th edition that they're running it? How many people are sticking to like something like 5th edition? As I said, I stuck to 5th edition for the little bits I've run. But I'm not against playing in 6th edition, so that's that kind of weird point of being. But it's just like, I don't know a lot of other people that run Shadowrun other than me.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Shadowrun wiki, the fandom wiki, and it's kind of interesting because there's the core book 2019, And they've kind of been releasing like a core, something called a core expansion every like 6 months. And I think those, like, if you were to like get, I think those are the ones you'd want to get if you want to like actually get your full money out of it.
Yeah,
of the game.
You kind of have to build on these layers because, like, again, like, I think it's that thing about Shadowrun because it is a lot of complex and large systems and a lot of different things. If you're not doing characters that are dealing with magic, you don't have to worry about it. You actually might not have a team of runners that deal with magic at all, or do it in a very, like, if you have someone that's like an adept, the adept's not dealing dark with magic. You have magic, but you're basically like, magic ninja. You're not doing anything that's casting spells or stuff like that, You're not dealing with that crap. There's levels that you might not deal with, ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the issue was originally the core expansions were a year apart, and then they more recently they started doing them like 6 months apart.
Yeah, didn't we talk about earlier there was like a big combat expansion of like rules and stuff that I thought was interesting? Was it? It was some kind of expansion I think we talked about months ago.
I'm trying to figure out because it's probably Hack and Slash.
Yeah. I think that's the one. Yeah,
that was October 2022. So that still would have been a few. Well,
that one I might have talked about. There was there was a book earlier this year that we talked about too that I think was like a rules expansion.
Probably Deadly Arts then.
Deadly Arts. Okay, yeah.
Because that was released this year. That was April of this year.
Yeah, and I think that was, as you said, it's like 6 months apart, and that I think was one that I was like, oh, cool, like more combat expansion. And I'm like, I think it's because they've accelerated a little bit now. I'm noticing it more. Like when it's once a year, it's harder to notice like hey, we're building onto these things and adding these layers, which help a lot. And all editions have these kind of books like this. But I feel like this is one of those cases where these books are more important because, like, you could do fine in 5th edition without the magic book, but the magic book would dive deeper and added a lot of really interesting things to it. That's the kind of thing. You could do hacking without it, but the hacking book add a lot of stuff. It's kind of that way where I feel like it's a little like we need these a little bit more to expand them a little bit more.
Yeah, and like just looking at the titles of them, I'm like, these were probably necessary. Like you got core, then your first core expansion is Firing Squad, which is kind of more of a, as far as I can tell, like more fighting abilities.
Probably
the next one,
I would say like guns, firepower, kind of, and things related to that.
Yeah, but this one actually had a link that I was able to follow. The rest of them don't. Okay. And it basically said it's like combat, it's like abilities and skills and stuff like that. Along with weapons and stuff.
Okay.
And then the next one is Street Weird, and it's like, okay, cool. Now you're gonna do magic, and then let's see, this is still.
That would probably be Street Weird. I would think would probably be more spirits of shamanic magic, probably.
Probably. Actually, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Then Double Clutch is the next expansion, which is like, okay,
vehicles
that's cars.
And riggers. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got Six World Companion. No idea what that one is, but it's probably something. No, it's because that's the thing. They have lore as like one of the options. This is considered a core expansion, so that's why I'm thinking it might be like a little bit of like optional rules.
Alternate character creation methods, new meta types, stuff like that.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
The store link is not working. I try, but I can see it in basically like Google the basic stuff about it.
Yeah, and then Hack and Slash is the next one, and then you've got Body Shop, which is augments, which is necessary, and the fact that like all of these have been so far apart.
And again, I don't think it's not that this stuff doesn't exist in 6th edition. It does in the core book.
Yeah.
But I feel like because it's a lighter touch, you need these heavier books for diving deeper into these and actually developing characters related to better.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you want a character around that thing, there's not enough of it in the core book,
It's like you could probably put together something okay, but it's not the depth you kind of would probably have in older editions with just a core book. And again, like it's probably like it's not a huge difference, I think, in like the core book depth you had on these characters, but it's enough of a difference, I think is what it's saying. So you've got 50% depth versus like 35% depth, baby. That's kind of what it is, and that's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, and it's not like these other books didn't have like had expansions or even, but it's just I don't know. To be fair, I'm also kind of spitballing more from I haven't read through the 6th edition book.
I have to read
I
through it
might
again.
have it.
I really should do a bigger comparison at one point in time between 5th and 6th. But again, it's like, I've been dealing with lore from Shadowrun more than anything, not the rules.
Yeah.
So I'm probably, it's that kind of thing of like coming back to like Pathfinder 2nd edition took me a little while because I hadn't actually played it in quite a while.
Yeah.
Even with the
So it's
remaster
kinda
being
like-
slightly different.
Yeah, because like I remember, I actually know I've looked at the 6th edition book, and I do remember it was like fine,
Yeah, it's fine.
but I don't remember. Yeah, but that was like from someone who has very limited interaction with Shadowrun in general. So it's like kind of like I couldn't tell you the comparison.
It also comes down to like, it's one of those things is like, we get our preferences from editions and stuff. Hey, I've talked about like, World of Darkness 5e and all their kind of stuff. And that's been a mixed bag too. And I think it's like with things like Shadowrun 6th edition, I kind of say like, I prefer that better than the kind of things they were doing in the 5e World of Darkness stuff. I'm like, this I have complaints about, but I still think it plays fine, and it's not really a problem in the long run. You could probably do fine games there, and especially with the like expansions, they're getting back into it.
Yeah.
Mechanically,
And honestly,
it's fine,
Yeah. And honestly, they've been releasing things like in between these core expansions, they've been releasing things like gear books and adventures and plots and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've been doing nothing in between. It's not like that's the only thing they put out in between. So it's like, and setting books and all those things. So it's like they've been supporting the game, which is good. It's healthy that they're supporting it.
The one thing
but yeah.
that I am missing is we don't have good setting books. That's the one thing I have to complain about 6th edition. We don't have good setting books. What I mean by that is, normally most of the setting books are like a city or small region. We don't get a very good
Emerald
view.
City, Astral Ways.
Yeah. We get very few views of the
New
full
Orleans.
6th world. Like, the last great book we had about that was the 6th World Almanac in 4th edition. Which basically is, we need stuff like that. Because I'm not going to lie, Shadowrun is based upon an entire planet. There's a lot of the planet that, where stuff's going on. And it's not bad to, like, take pictures and, like, views of these cities. That's cool. But it's not the world, Now,
there is something they do, which probably would help. The issue is that because they have plot books, but they're stories. Yeah. And that's probably the issue, is that like for someone who wants to like just run a setting, they don't want to have to read a story.
No.
To find out how something's to find out how something works.
It's when there are certain countries that in the full history of Shadowrun we know a bunch about, but like when I try to look for updates, the earliest things are either 4th edition or 2nd edition. Those are my choices, because those were the last 2 editions that we got big setting books that talked about actual like countries and cities and regions that were just about those, and weren't also involved in adventures and stuff like that. And we still got books like, the certain city books. We still got those, but we also had like Shadows of Europe and Shadows of like Asia and stuff like that, which talked about all the different countries, or like the 6th World Almanac. We don't get those right now. I just would love those kind of books again. Just some of them to be like, hey, what's going on over here in Europe? What kind of changes have happened in the last things? Like, let me know. That's a cool idea. Because there's a lot of really cool nations that, went through a lot of shit and have been trying to make themselves better. And those are cool stories, like, we talk about, like, various countries that have been through the ringer and, have gone pretty low. How are they making themselves better places? That's a good story. Even though sometimes that better place isn't necessarily a good place to be.
I don't know. I think it, like, I get that. I think it kind of depends on the person. Like, that's the thing, like, the way Pathfinder does it kind of annoys me, where they, like, where it's like, oh, you want to find out how things changed? Campaign book. But then we'll tell you about just the world as a snapshot afterwards.
The fact is that they've only done the TNZ World Guide. The Mongi Expanse book was great, but the Mongi Expanse is a small section of Grund. Granted, I understand why it needs its kind of own because of a lot of city-states and stuff, which is different than TNZ, which because of, conquest is very nation-based. But I want more books like that.
I do too. And I think they're working on it.
I love the TNZ World Guide. It's such a great book. That's one of my favorites, and I like books like that give you these really great snapshots.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue on because we got a couple of Kickstarters to talk about. Yay, Kickstarters! We will circle back to a different Kickstarter at the end of it because I almost forgot the topic, and when you suggested and came back to it. But remember we talked about Obojima a while ago? Yeah. I think Momo was on to talk about it. They got a new book and board game. So I wanted to give them a shout out because we did talk about their core book. Was that? Well, I think Momo was on.
By
for
the
that.
way, you gave an example of simplification, right?
I said I didn't have a good one off the top of my head. I think it was something like. I think there was something in the way hacking works, and certainly hacking and magic are the two places where it was simplified a lot, which again was needed, but I felt like it was maybe too simple on those, and I kind of feel like that's kind of where I can point out, and that's again that those more or less are a little harder to define because they're more preference, but I think also like some things related to combat were a little bit more simplified, and I don't remember exactly on that one. That one's a little bit more like on the edge, but again, there are some major systems with Shadowrun that it depends on the system too. I think. Anyway, new Obojima book. We talked about it briefly. It's the very like Studio Ghibli fantasy D&D, very
it's Studio Ghibli inspired 5e
books,
source book.
Yeah, they got a new supplement that has a bunch of new things in it, of course. So it's all the new content. And then, of course, they have a board game called Yanari on the Witch's Market, which is also, I guess, part of this entire Kickstarter. I assume you basically probably could choose which of the rewards you were getting. Yeah, it looks like board game PDF. Looks like the board game's the core. What's the bottom one here? I'm just trying to see. Look at this. The board game seems to be one of the more important parts about it. Thanks, thing in the background. I guess that's the core of it, but it's the board game and the books are the core book and the new book are kind of like there too, which is very important too. Oh, there. I see here. Yeah. So it's like, I see. So they do have the basic, like, physical book and PDF and board game. Now, that's the only thing I can say here is they don't have a just PDF level, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not...
You can go and buy the just PDF already, so...
Yeah. So I'm like... You can do the... If you want the PDF, you can go buy that, and, like, that supports them too, anyway. But, like, on the Kickstarter... I'm assuming it's for the board game and the physical book. That's why those are the concentrations for this, It's, hey, we have all the stuff. We want to print it,
Also, you can do a pure PDF as a add-on.
Okay. So, I'm assuming if you do the like the $1 tier, then if you just want to do the pure PDF on the add-on on the $1 tier, where it says access to add-ons, yeah, I can see that'd be an option. So it's build your own tier on that one. Their art style is always really cool. I really like it. It's a really nice art style. Let me just see here. They've done how far? They've got a lot of the things here. It's a successful Kickstarter. I think I'll keep it simple on the words to say it. It's Obojima. Momo had some really great things to say about it. Has the book, talked about it with us. It's a really cool one to use and stuff like that. Glad they're doing more stuff with it, and the board game looks kind of cute. I mean, that's the best I can say. Little potion shop kind of thing. It looks like board game.
Oh yeah. They have the $1 add-on tier, which allows you to pick like the stuff. Yeah, so it's kind of build your own tier.
I'm trying to look at the.
Yeah, so it seems like the new book. Yeah, the Obojima Adventures in Tales from Yatamon
Yeah.
is kind of their new book.
And then the Yunari board game. Which actually, this is really interesting because I'm just thinking about it.
And then they updated their book with like a new layout and stuff.
Okay. So they've got
and also to the 2024 rules.
So the new book is like the new printing of the core book too.
So they have the a new book plus an updated core book.
So like a new printing
and
of the core book, I would call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, it's not like a new edition, it's a new printing of the core book.
Yeah.
And then the board game.
They said they're calling it an updated book. So yeah.
Let's see. The Yunari, the Witch's Market. You're one of 5 witches making potions for customers to go about their lives. Yep. So I'm assuming it's probably like a little semi-competitive game where you're just delivering potions to customers, and who's the most successful. Yay! At a market. Again.
Also, I just noticed there's a picture of a cat smoking.
Yes. Yes, there is.
I think one of the cats just has a cigarette in his mouth.
Who let that cat get a cigarette? Damn you, cat. Yeah. There's also a picture of the cat with a knife. So I mean, like, yeah, I'm down for the art. It's fun. It's fun, the little stuff. Well, there you go. I just wanted to bring this one up because we talked about Obojima and it's a fun one, and we want to shout out more of their Kickstarter. Interesting.
The cat with the dagger.
Yeah. Also going to be up on Kickstarter, which I'm going to provide the link to Chaosium's thing, is Chaosium's doing a Kickstarter for the original edition of Pendragon. So the classic. So this is the classic book, but it is going to have some much more stuff from the original classic. What they're doing is basically they're going back to their archives of notes from when they were, I'm guessing from their original construction of the book, and putting some stuff in from there. They're like, hey, yeah, we had some stuff we never put into the original book. We can kind of provide you with that too. It's just some things that we were, probably throwing around back during that time in the 80s. And yeah, I don't mind these. These are always cool. This is one of those things, because it's up on Kickstarter, is if you are interested in this type of thing of revisiting an original edition, great, you can. You don't need to. It's if you are interested in trying out something which might be a little hard and difficult, but also like fun, you could.
Yep. Yeah, I actually backed the Ars Magica that where it's like, oh, we're doing a bunch of reprintings of our old books.
Yeah.
I did that one.
I think Talos put out like Shadowrun First Edition too, like a book of that, and I was like, that's cool. Shadowrun First Edition is brutal.
Yeah, a lot of early games are.
Yeah, it has some things that they fixed very quickly, but it's fun one to kind of revisit that way. So yeah,
I mean, a lot of those early RPGs were based off wargaming culture, which had a lot more, oh yeah, your character dies and then you get a new one,
Yep. It does look like the Kickstarter is live for Pendragon First Edition, basically, or Classic, so you can check that out. Yeah, I'm just trying to see on the Kickstarter page what they say about all the old stuff and things too, what they're talking about it. But yeah, it's cool, neat little one. So, and for this brief Kickstarter roundup, one last one, and that is, of course, because I like it, Red Dragon 10. Because unlike Munchkin, I like Red Dragon a little bit for their billion of kind of things. If you don't know Red Dragon Inn, basically it's you bunch of adventurers drinking in an inn. And it's pretty easy to play because there's a combo drinking deck in the center, and then it's just your characters have abilities, and it's a kind of card-based game where each of your characters is their own. So when you buy these things, yeah, the booze deck gets pretty big and crazy, but you don't necessarily need all the booze decks. You can just play with the ones from the characters you have, honestly speaking, or just have a combined one. And then the characters are most of the cards you're playing with. It's a little easier than Munchkin to combine them all together. So it's It's 6 new characters and some alternate game modes. So
the Dragonborn character, I mean, I'm calling it Dragonborn because that's basically what it is. But
yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're calling it. But
Saurian monk, they say.
Saurian.
Saurian. I guess more like dinosaur person, but dragon. Really.
Ah, like Saurian. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, usually it's like dinosaur, but like Sar. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, her name is Icinder, which is she does like fire and ice stuff, and I just realized it's just Ice Cinder.
Yes.
Is her name? Icinder. Clever, but also fun fact, I love games like it's just more of a tangent for me. I love games that allow you to do ice fire characters. It is so rare. I don't know why. I love that character concept, but it's almost impossible to make in RPGs and video games because no one ever builds around like a dual system like that. And oftentimes they're if they do have them, they're often conflicting, and therefore like you can or you know, conflicting things. If you want to focus, you can't do both or something. You have to pick one. Anyway, sorry. This is something I think I saw, and I love that concept, and it's just interesting.
And this is a cool one for like the game modes. Like one of the things is they have basically 5 taverns, which are basically basic rule sets that you can play with, and that can go with any of the sets they put out. That's cool. See, this is the thing is, I'm always happy when I hear about the stuff that Slugfest does with their continued series, because they do seem to kind of innovate and add new things. So it's sort of like, yeah, they might reach an eventual end to this entire journey, but at least with these first 10, they've done a decent job of kind of developing the game and allowing them that you can mix and match, or you could have all of them, you know, and play with all of them. So,
also, there's 2 characters that they have blacked out.
Yeah, they'll probably.
Are they stretch goals? Or
they might reveal them later, though, too.
It might just be hype reveal, yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah.
I guess the thing, I don't mind that kind of thing. Like, it keeps people paying attention and stuff like that. If done right, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look. They don't really have any stretch goals listed, so I guess it's just more hype for more support or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, or maybe it's just like they don't have the rules for them ironed out yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they look. It looks interesting. That's the best I can say. I like Red Dragon in. I always have a fun time playing it, and yeah.
I wanna play it. I've never played it.
I think there's some basic ones that might be on like Tabletop Sim. We should do it sometime.
Joe does have one on Tabletop Sim. I know.
Yeah,
that.
I know. I think he also physically owns a bunch of them.
He does.
Yeah. So, all right. But yeah, there's Red Dragon in. Cool. I thought that was a good. Oh, did I switch? I did the button correctly. Okay. So, all right. So it is Brawlhalla, which is a game both, I think, on phone and Steam, I believe. I remember this on Steam. Don't I? Is it on Steam? Let me just check. I thought it was. Most of these do end up on there. Yeah, it is. It's for free on Steam. Look, this is a game I've seen people play years ago. I never played it, but apparently it's getting a card game. Cool. That's the best thing I'm saying about it. Like it's coming out in 2026.
It's got like proprietary characters. Okay.
Yeah, it's got proprietary characters and stuff like that.
I mean, it's probably also got its own characters, maybe, but
it does have its own characters and proprietary characters, and it's like a little it was like a 2v2. It's up to 8 players actually, so it's like a Smash Brothers style game. I don't think it's got like items like Smash Brothers, but like, you know, the character combat kind of style on a 2D plane. That's the kind of style it was.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently it did look like when I looked on the site, they had already partnered with Ubisoft for some characters. So I think what they're doing is they're still partnering with them for some characters that are Ubisoft characters in the card game, I'm assuming.
Okay, so they're going to use some proprietary characters still.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to relicense them for their new thing.
Yeah, there's some of them that I'm like looking at here because they did like apparently a Star Wars crossover, a Mega Man, SpongeBob,
Avatar,
Halo, yeah. I saw Rayman. Yeah. You know, they've got their own characters and a lot of other.
Rayman was in the original one, so I feel like he was like I think that's why they're partnering with Ubisoft, because they probably like.
Oh, they were published by Ubisoft too, the original game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm curious. That's a curiosity. Published by
'Cause I
Ubisoft
saw-
doesn't necessarily mean the studio is owned by Ubisoft, but it might be. It usually is. I don't know.
Well, it would explain why they could use, because Rayman was in the, like I saw like in the screenshots, he was in the original set of screenshots before the expansions.
But the way they
So,
say it, it does sound like partnering with Ubisoft means that maybe Ubisoft just published the original, and it wasn't like this. Because I think Blue Mammoth Games is the game studio that was behind it. Yeah, because it says that FY Elos Games and Blue Mammoth Games, in partnership with Ubisoft, basically are doing the tabletop version here. So
I mean, again, like I said, I think it's kind of necessary. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Definitely. I'm curious how this will work because again, it's they say 2 to 4 players and it is a multiplayer free for all. So I'm guessing it's some kind of battle card game. Those are fun.
Yeah,
it can be fun. So I'm not like, and again, licensed things. I'm not against them. I'm just like I'm curious how it will stand out from the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So apparently they're gonna have a crowdfunding in November though, and release in 2026. So it's neat. It's neat. Ooh. Brawlhalla. 10 years that's been out. Interesting.
I mean, I'm kind of just all about, at this point, I'm not buying any game. I'm not gonna play any games at this point that are like, what is it? Like basically ones that have a bunch of.
The free-to-play games are difficult to
free-to-play,
play
that's the
because
word.
some of them have a lot of systems. It was that weird thing of like, I'm gonna say, I really did enjoy with, as a side note here, playing off stream with Joe and Blaze, some Once Human. That was fun. It's a free-to-play game. The market is there, but also weird. And I think that was the best one because, like, I never knew where the market was to like actually spend money because it was a confusing
That's
mess. It kind of was there. Like, I think I encountered it, but because you do earn a lot of those kind of things, I never knew when it was the currency that was like, this is the purchase currency.
I mean, there are some that are 100% that are really nice, like Warframe.
Yeah,
free to play, but they have a flaring market because like they actually make you want stuff and everything's cosmetic. You don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, you could earn those cosmetics yourself, but you could also just pay for them too.
Some you
Probably
can't,
some you
but
can't,
yeah. The like literally, in fact, I'd say 99% of the cosmetics you can't. But although you kind of can, because what you can do is you can earn in-game currency that you can then trade to other players for the content you want. So
yeah, I see here. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you can trade in-game items to players who can then give you the platinum, which you can then use to buy the stuff. So it's like there's still ways to earn it for free. You're piggybacking off of people. To be fair, they also give out a lot of platinum, like for random things. So anyway, but yeah, so it's like it's not a bad free to play. Like there are good ones, but like I basically am like I'm vetting any free to play game before I play it at this point because I'm just getting real tired of them being trash.
Really reasonable at this point in time. Unfortunately,
And
you are correct. A lot of them are.
And as far as phone apps go, I'm like really trying to actually just find ones that aren't free to play. Like I want to just buy it and have it. Single purchase games.
Yeah. Sort of like I just like I've got my one phone game and I'm not gonna get another one. I don't think at this point in time.
I had one, but due to recent financial constraints, I've decided to kick that one, and I'm now just not even.
Yeah. Hey.
Worried about it.
Look, as long as I spend less on Pokemon Go than someone has with a World of Warcraft subscription, I think I'm fine.
Yep.
That's kind of where I put it. Is like as long as I have like one of those kind of subscriptions, as long as if I put less money into there than that, I think I'm fine.
Yep.
And honestly, nowadays it's been more like just laziness for anything. Anyway, so let's talk Asmodee for 2 topics because they're both kind of interesting and both related to company stuff. Good old
I prefer
Asmodee.
Asmonite.
What? Asmodee? Isn't Asmodee?
Being dumb. I don't know why.
Oh, I know. It took me a minute. I got the joke. Anyway, first of our two little Asmodee stories combined is, of course, them partnering with Middle-earth Enterprises. So apparently, Asmodee is going to do a crap ton of Tolkien-related stuff. What is this going to be? We don't know. But they're apparently going to be the official board game partner for anything Middle-earth related coming out in the future. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, like, it's having one partner means we're going to be relying on Asmodee to put stuff out, which is not. That's kind of where I'm at with, like, you know, are we going to see a variety of Lord of the Rings stuff or just one? I don't know. We'll have to see. Like, license agreements for TTRPGs are not going to change though. It's other tabletop categories this is going to focus on more than anything. And it will all of Token's work, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, for tabletop projects. And so, yeah. And they have a team that they're going to be putting on charge of this kind of thing. Maybe some cool games will come out. And again, it's not going to affect, like, the Lord of the Rings games like that. For a second, I wanted to say Fantasy Flight, and that's not correct. God damn it. Oh, brain work for... I have to think of the company name. Don't worry. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've been fighting my brain. Free League. Free League. I remembered them. I did cheat. Anyway, so yes, this won't affect, like, Free League's Lord of the Rings TTRPGs. This is not for TTRPGs. So. This is for other tabletop.
Yep.
So card games, board games, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Post the breakup with Embracer, I haven't seen anything that tells me Asmodee is not going to do a bad job and it's not a bad, like, upper company for this. The tabletop industry is in a sort of a mess anyway, so this is like, it doesn't tell me anything, you know, as things stabilize in the upcoming years from the mess that's been in. We'll see. I think it's fine. But the other thing is, which I think is kind of neat, is most of Asmodee, I always knew of it as having, like, a lot of smaller, like, sub-companies that they assimilated. They're making their own one. And that's what the little picture I have over here for Mood Box is. They're actually launching a party game studio, which I think is a very interesting one. Party games are fun. I like them. Cranium is a classic game I've always had a lot of fun. Apples to Apples. There's plenty of other ones that are fun little party games. And I would like to see that market expanded. I think that's what we see. I don't think we see a lot of, like, actual, like, party games like those style of games expanded a lot more on. And so a little bit more in that kind of thing. That's not just Exploding Kittens or... What am I trying to think of? God. Cards Against Humanity. We need stuff better than that. Sorry, Cards. You were fine and fun a little bit, but you get old.
Yeah, I mean,
Exploding Kittens was a little bit better. That wasn't bad.
Personally, I actually, like, Cards Against Humanity was fine. I think it's honestly kind of, Cards Against Humanity for whatever reason just kind of always bothered me. It just kind of felt like,
I think it's the same for me. It doesn't necessarily bother me, but it just, like, it's a style. The humor is one style, and it doesn't really go to a lot of other styles very easily.
I think that's what it is. It only has one style of humor, and it's very much that edgy,
slightly crude humor, which isn't
crude humor,
necessarily bad. Like, I don't hate that style of humor. It's just that that kind of humor has to be used in moderation. I feel like, for me personally, definitely, it can get stale, old, or annoying if it's used too much. Like,
which is why I feel like most of the time I kind of get bored of it pretty quickly. But that's actually kind of why I feel like I preferred apples to apples.
Yeah, that's usually I think.
Which is basically just Cards Against Humanity, but safe for work.
Yes, and I think that's why I agree with that too. Because it's safe for work, it makes it that you at the table have to put that together. So it's the group of people you are working with develop the humor that you all kind of enjoy, rather than just, the cards.
And I think because it's not going for a specific type of humor, it's a lot broader. So you can make the humor a lot more, you actually have to gauge like the humor that you're going for,
Yeah.
Like I remember like when I played that with like my family, like I played both with my family. Cards Against Humanity got a little odd sometimes, but with your family. But I remember Apples to Apples is always more interesting because you always had to like gauge the humor of the person with the card, whereas you kind of do that with Cards Against Humanity as well. But it's kind of more like I feel like in Cards Against Humanity, it's just like, do I have a good card for this?
Look again, and I'll always say I will always remember Cranium as a big party game, because I'll just remember people spelling two of my friends spelling chocolate backwards, and they got all the way to the C, and because we're playing like at late at night, and though I wasn't, a few other people were buying a few drinks here and there, since I'm much the non-drinker, I think Joe is less the drinker now, but he was a little bit more of a drinker. But anyway, the other person, like, there's a little bit more drinks going on. Spelled chocolate with a K, so it's cocklet.
Okay.
You're supposed to spell it backwards for the game, alternating between the players in your team. They got all the way to the C, and it became a K. So they lost. But it was very funny. They managed to get all the way to there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Things. See, that's where like party games can be very fun. But so I'm okay with the studio. It is one of those things that has increasing popularity, but it's also like one of those things is like, I think I haven't seen as many major. It's been Hasbro, which we don't talk about much because they're like very like simple old-timey party games, or USAopoly, which has like the next Trivial Pursuit of this. There aren't as many like, I guess, like, traditional, like as we know them now, tabletop studios diving into the party game market. And I'm all for that, I think, is what I can kind of say about this, with having Asmodee kind of stepping in and kind of putting a much more foot into it.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Cool. Anyway. So unfortunately, we're losing a studio. Not completely, but a little bit. Amigo is going away from the United States. So Amigo Games is a studio that has a German branch, which is the main branch, and they come up with a lot of really great games. They're one of those ones that are a little bit more, I think you could call them...
the slide.
Yeah, I've mentioned, sorry, thank you. Family friendly. Like, a friend of mine always has gotten a lot of the games from them. They're a lot more simple games, family-friendly games. They're a lot fun. And the thing is, you could play the German versions of them, but they basically had a US branch coming out with English versions of them, because some of the games really needed you to read them. And unfortunately, the US branch is shutting down. So, it's like, they'll be still putting out games, it's just that if you want to get them, you're going to have to import them now. And you're going to have to get the German ones, if they're going to do that. It's a shame. I thought Amigo would have been doing well, but apparently not. It just definitely, it's like one of those things I'm like kind of like, oh man. Yeah, it just seems like everything that's been going on, like,
yeah, according to this, it started in in COVID times, and that which with shipping issues, and then 2025 tariff thing was kind of the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's one of those things is like, we can talk about how like there was some good things, and board games did have some popularity during COVID time, but the problem here was they're a German company. They were probably even producing their English ones, and shipping them over and stuff like that and things like that. So, yeah. Unfortunately, they are, going going away. So,
Yep.
But again,
I mean, let's be real. The situation over there is probably better when it comes to board games.
Yeah, and again, if you still want to support them, you probably still can get some of their games. You're just not going to be able to get the... I don't know if they will put out any English versions of them anymore. Because again, like it's just the U.S. branch is being shuttered right now. So
yeah,
um,
it's possible that things will come back in time, but
they probably won't have as heavy a footing here in the U.S. as they did during this time period.
Mm-hmm. I mean, actually, something that might happen is they may not like sub, basically, like, you know, I don't know what that's called, but like where it's like where someone else handles that part.
Yeah.
You know,
and again, it's not like they didn't have a footprint in the North American market. This was just to solidify their footprint here too, having a U.S. subsidiary. You know, that made sense. So again, it's not like you won't be able to get their games. We might still have English language in the games. It just might, you know, affect prices or availability and things like that. And again, these are one of those ones that have relatively simple, fun, relatively family-friendly games that, you know, I've played a bunch of them. I can't remember any of their goddamn names off the top of my head because, of course, I can't because, you know, me remembering stuff.
I mean, you've got Kabanga, Take 5, No Thanks, Bonanza.
Yeah.
For the strategy ones, you got Carnival of Monsters, Saboteur, Dice Hunters of Theroin, Pick a Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the one last game that we played.
So they're top sellers. All games.
Oh, hi, Board Game Geek. You finally loaded up. Take 5. Take 5. That's the one that...
I literally said that one.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I had to see a picture of the box to remember it. Like, that's
fair.
The name of it.
That's actually totally fair.
Yeah. That's one... I think I played it last year at PAX Unplugged because my friend had a German version of it, but she wanted to pick up the English she wanted to pick up a different game, but you know, we played a little bit of it there. So she was a pretty big fan of it. You know, and that's a fun game, fun little game. But so
one called Schrodinger's Cats.
Anyway, hey, welcome. Anyway, so we got a little bit of update on Diamond that's more positive. For once, a positive update on Diamond. I know, it's such a weird thing to say. They're going to mediation, which theoretically is positive, but again, it means that mediation means they're trying to handle this crap not in court, which could be good, could be bad. It's the thing is when you're out of court, it means that you're coming to a table and coming to an agreement, and you're resolving things easier, and you don't have to go through a lengthy process that's also expensive. Mediation. Well, the
problem is there's already been a lot of lawsuit stuff, so in this case, I feel like the mediation is also kind of more like to prevent further court.
Yeah. So this is Diamond, Sparkle Pop, the bank, and a bunch of the consigners kind of coming together, kind of in a time of thing. So the issues the parties have agreed to negotiate are some related claims. That's on the bottom. The expenses claimed by the consigners. The basically trying to sell the consigner's inventory, the things related to Sparkle Pop selling some of that inventory, and then of course accepting or rejecting the consignment agreements that were forced when the bankruptcy was filed. Basically, okay. So the consigner's motion that Diamond be forced to decide whether it accepts or rejects the consignment's agreements that were forced when the bankruptcy was. So basically, there's some agreements that were forced because of bankruptcy that they basically want to kind of negotiate to, because I guess Diamond's been adversarial towards that shit too. So yeah. And there's either getting a mediator. Hopefully it will maybe get rid of some of the shit from court and speed up some of this problems and get through the mess that's Diamond's death knells.
And I really need to, like, I feel like I'd love to do a deep dive into this, like, after it's all over.
Yes. it's such a weird thing because again, it's one of those things that it is tangential because it is like a distributor and it does hit a lot of the tabletop industry, but it's a lot of industries too. But Diamond was such a big distributor, and now their death knells are just causing ripples of problems.
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of a monopoly, not a. Also, I found out something like recently that like the monopoly definition for America is like super strict, meaning like you have to hit like a bunch of points. So that's why we have so many seeming monopolies.
Yes, that's the problem. Is we've made the definition of monopoly a lot more strict in our country. So there's a lot of things that like
anyway,
anybody will look at like that sounds like a monopoly. It's not.
Yeah, not legally a monopoly.
Not legally here in the U.S.
But anyway, because you have to like control certain points of both distribution and like stuff. Anyway, I don't remember. I looked up I looked it up like 2 weeks ago, and I kind of just remembered it now.
Yep.
Anyway, my point though is that Diamond is a sort of monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Not a legal monopoly, but a sort of monopoly. They controlled a lot of the kind of distribution aspects of board games.
Yeah.
I mean, there were obviously other things like you could do direct with Amazon and stuff like that, but they were a very big.
Yes, and in some cases they sent things through them to Amazon from like the original people even too.
Well, it's kind of more like hey Diamond here, and now you can and they also did other stuff too, but it's like here Diamond sell our stuff, and they'll put it on everywhere.
And the answer to chat is yes. This is that company. This was Diamond Distributors, the big distributor that sent comic books, board games, role playing game books. So many books were going through them. Again, like. Groups like Wizards weren't involved in this because they do a lot of stuff on their own. Because they have Hasbro's channels plus their own channels that they've built up. But this was like Paizo was in here. A lot of other big companies were in here. You know,
Dark Horse
for the more their comic book side of things. You know, / graphic novel. So they did a lot of stuff here, and they've collapsed, and it's been a mess. And the mess just keeps being a mess. And this might fix some of that mess.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and the reason this mess, like, here's the thing, they could have just like figured it out and gone on with their day. You know, bankruptcy isn't necessarily the end of a company, but the issue is that then they turned around and went, hey, we have all this inventory, it's ours now, we're gonna sell it and not pay the people who gave us this stuff. And that just blew everything up.
Not that there weren't problems already, but this was like the culmination of problems, and then we learned like the people that like had kind of bought them up are also doing that, but of course they didn't really know about that because they were given inventory and not told what it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like they said they were going to sell it, but then they didn't, but then they gave some of that accidentally to Sparkle Pop, who then started selling it because they were told it was okay.
Yeah, they're like,
Diamond,
here's some stuff that we own, you can sell it, you know.
It's been such a mess. It's been the biggest mess I've like ever heard of.
It's hilarious how bad it is, and the fact that like there's a link to one of the articles we talked about how like previously that they've gotten into $15 million worth of legal fees. That's how much money they've spent on legal fees because the mess has been getting deeper and deeper and messier, and they just got to keep paying the goddamn lawyers for how many legal I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's basically just like, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, just imagine like I don't know what they thought with the companies. Like, it's like, oh, hey companies, I know you've paid us to distribute your stuff and then, you know, obviously pass through money to you. We're not going to pay you, but we're going to sell your stuff. You know, it's like, just what, where did that even like idea even come from?
It was some genius idea somewhere. And I think because the consignment stuff made it a little bit more of a legal gray area. It's like, again, it's like one of those things it's very scummy, but it's kind of a weird area to be in because it's something that you shouldn't have to talk about.
It's kind of like because that's the thing. It's like, I think it's the idea that like, oh, the whole point of bankruptcy is you don't necessarily have to pay back everything. Well, you kind of do, but you also kind of don't. You know. And they just decided, oh, I guess we don't have to pay back the people. We can just sell the stuff to help our fees. It's like, gosh, this is the biggest mess. Like, again, I so want to, like, part of me wonders if there's a deep dive for where it currently is at. I think I might try and find that this week.
That's curious. So yeah, that's that one there. And now we have one final topic. A little nicer one, and I'm going to turn it over to you because you brought us this one.
Yeah,
Czepeku,
so I've
Kickstarter.
been kind of subscribing to Czepeku, and I'm in their Discord. And yeah,
I never say their
they
name right.
are doing...
Did
Did you say I'm not saying their name right?
I don't.
Well, here's the thing. Literally, I'm in their Discord. It's like there's a thing that says, "How do you say our name?" And they're like, "However you want." So you are saying it right because there is no right.
Grant.
They know their name. They know their name is hard to say. So
Right.
I picked one and I stick with it.
Yeah.
So Czepeku, yeah, they're doing a map builder Kickstarter. So currently Czepeku is a bunch of set piece maps for the most part.
mhm.
They have a few kind of semi-buildy things, but like it's kind of more like you know, what are they called? Geomorph tiles.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of just they all kind of have connectors and you put them together. But yeah, this is going to be like a full-on build. Like basically, it's gonna be a bunch of rooms that you can then connect together, and their whole thing is gonna be like, yeah. So, I mean, I might as well just read this. Like, create a custom bastion and guild halls using vast selection of rooms, alchemy labs, libraries, taverns, greenhouses, teleportation chambers, and more. Every room and element is hand drawn, same care. So yeah, it's the same kind of
The
stuff.
fact that they're when they say easy to drag and drop edit, that means they have their own program for editing and putting this together. Probably.
Yes, I assume it's going to be put on their website because their website already has like, you know, they already have a website with a lot of honestly a lot of interactivity. There are certain things you can do that are semi-interactive, especially if you look at their tokens.
Yeah.
They actually have like you can actually edit like the color and stuff of like the characters and stuff.
This is definitely attracting my attention as like I haven't been big on like again like you know diving into a lot of Kickstarters and I like a lot of these things but it's sort of like you know I'm kind of like you know I go in a lot of this one's automatically like because of a lot of this stuff I'm like oh and because you did a lot of Czepeku Max and you like showed me some of them and like have like helped with some of them those are really good
Yeah.
so like I'm really like it's definitely drawing me in.
Also,
Launching in 3
this is
days.
actually something that they're not that they put on their Discord.
Mhm.
They didn't actually put it here on their launch page. It's launching on the 21st, by the way, which is Tuesday. First 24 hours is going to be 20% off and it also includes lifetime access. It'll be about $32 for lifetime access.
It's pretty good.
Right?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that definitely like.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, no, that's correct.
You know, hey, I got my Foundry subscription, so like, you know, I'm definitely down for like another.
No, again, it's not even a subscription. It's you pay once. Like this.
Yeah.
Czepeku is really good about that. Like, I mean, basically, all their stuff is lifetime guarantees. So basically, like when you first pay them, that's what you're going to be paying for the rest of time. So it's basically only the new people have to pay higher costs.
Okay.
So that's kind of how they always done their thing.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's pretty neat.
So yeah, so it's cool. I'm very curious because like that is probably the biggest flaw in Czepeku's style right now. Or is that there's no customization. Like they make variants so you can get like several variants, like a destroyed, like if they have a guild hall, we'll say you could have a destroyed guild hall, a burnt guild hall, a dark guild hall, a poison guild hall. Like they do variants like that, but there's still it's just all of their own variants. It's not like a customizable thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this is going to be really cool.
It'll open up some more variation and stuff like this. Again, because you're kind of building your own. You start with some basics, but you're building your own thing. Certainly, and again, like with 200 rooms of selection, that's a good selection of rooms to kind of like figure out what fits and stuff like that.
And it says Czepeku, so they're probably going to add more over time because they do.
Yes. Yes. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right. So that's our last of our little topics there. Why don't we move on to our deeper discussion topic? Because we got an interesting one today that I was surprised we didn't chat about. I think we've tangentially talked about it. I talked about this earlier. We've tangentially hit upon this, but we've never actually talked about using weather in RPG. We've talked about like set pieces, environments, and stuff like that. And so I think
the time where from what I remember, probably the discussion that we last had that I recall, where we talked in depth about weather to some degree, was when we talked about environmental encounters or something like where the environment is the challenge.
Yeah,
natural challenges or something like that.
So I think we have to kind of step back here, and I was trying to think about this. I can think of 3 main reasons to use weather and how weather you're going to encounter with your players. For one thing, I think, as I said, environmental challenge. The weather itself is your challenge. I think that's one thing.
Yeah.
2, I think the weather is part of it. Like, it can almost be a hazard. This would probably be part of some other encounter.
I think we talked about it in hazards as well. Yeah, I remember.
But then also, like, honestly, the weather can be a set piece for, like, storytelling too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason it's always raining in sad moments in anime and movies.
Yeah, it's environmentally and adding it to that entire level. So I think that's
the sky is crying.
Sky's crying, just like we are.
Mm-hmm.
It is a combo of those 3 things, and like those 3 things don't necessarily need to be on their own either. Is an important part to it. It's sort of like the storm could be a problem for you, but it's also setting a mood, Yeah. And
I mean, it's like, that's the thing. It can just be a light rain. Like, it sets an atmosphere. Like, it's surprisingly easy to set an atmosphere with weather, and it's something that's often forgotten. Like, I feel like 95% of GMs don't think about weather in their games.
It's definitely one of those things.
Despite the fact that like almost every RPG has rules for weather.
It's one of those things I try to remember. It doesn't always work because, again, like, I try to add in little bits of weather here, but I have to remember it. It's because we're dealing with a lot of other things. It's sort of like the weather comes up when I feel like, oh, hey, it's important for it to be raining right now. But other than that, I guess it's because, like, when it's just sunny out, we don't talk about it,
Yeah, like actually, here's the thing that's kind of fun that I didn't really mention, but like in the thing where we were trying to get the people across the bridge in Fall of Avonswell, I pictured it raining.
Ooh.
I don't think you ever described it as raining, but I pictured it raining.
I did not describe the weather at all, but that might work very well. Like the kind of rain coming down, pelting.
Yeah, I didn't picture like a heavy rain, but I pictured like a light rain, like overcast with like slight drizzle, just like as almost like an atmospheric thing. Like that was just me as a player.
It's one of those things that, like, on your journey, I tried to add the atmosphere of like the weather and stuff a lot of times, especially like at night, like, because I think
you did the traveling. You did the thing when we were traveling in this last time, where the storm hit, and we're like, "Do we continue or bunker down?" And we decided to bunker down.
I was fine with that. That was kind of that was an interesting kind of like choice about it. So where it's like, well, there could be some problems with it. Let's avoid those. It made it definitely that we had interesting story elements of that. And by hunkering down, you basically said, like, hey, we don't want this to possibly be a hazard. Let's just bunker down and have it be an environmental kind of thing of like this terrible storm we're trying to like kind of survive through just briefly. And it was just a little bit of an interesting moment. And that was a good use. I thought that was a good use of weather. I was trying to add some things in that were going to, make the journey north a little bit things there. And like, again, sometimes having good rain or having it snow or weather are things. And like, certainly speaking, like, I've used weather in a lot of places. In a desert, I've had dust storms kick up, have I hit people with like a tornado? No, but I could. Like, I'm sure there are reasons to do it.
Again, that's more of a tornado's coming. How do you handle it?
Yeah, that's rather than like you direct. If they get directly hit, then they've done something wrong. You know, it's that point.
With
in time.
that being said, in a game with magic, it may be possible to be like, oh, a tornado's on top of you. You know, you have to cast like, and like players can be creative and be like, oh, I cast flesh to stone to turn me into a statue so I don't blow away or something. You know, like.
They do something a little crazy silly and try to figure out what to do about the dangers that are coming up. Yeah, like again, it does boil down to those like 3 reasons to use weather, but you definitely almost have to like, as the person running the game, keep it in mind a little bit, because even on a sunny day, that's setting up a certain thing. Like, is there a lot of cloud cover? At night, depending on like I think I've only mentioned it like a couple of times, and I really haven't described it, but like in the Fall of Evansville world, there are 2 moons, but there are 2 moons that like are like circle joint together, so they're like close together in their circling, so they're never far from each other. But that does mean you have the double, like the moonlight from them, and so like I'm kind of describing that, and it's like brighter at night, you got like a little bit more, but again, like our moon's pretty big on our planet, so it's a pretty big like source of night light. So again, like it comes down to like a lot of like aspects of these kind of things, that like the cloud cover could mean something. That's weather. It's a cloudy day. You can't see, it's a little bit more hazy and gray and stuff like that. And it might rain. You have to watch out for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's there's definitely a lot.
Environmental's the easy one to do. Like, but we're story wise is the easy use of weather, I think.
Yeah, that's the easy.
Yeah. I think after that, weather as an extra hazard isn't bad, or like a little bit of a challenge, but I think weather as like it's going to mess around with my combat is the probably rare one. But I mean, sometimes you use it. I guess like if you're on a ship in the middle of a storm and a ghost ship attacks you, you're gonna have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of inclement weather options. Here's why traveling east in the morning is problem. Oh, like sun. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
like sun in your eyes, so you can't.
Eyes, yeah. Like if you're on a pretty open horizon traveling east, you will have to deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting, because it's like, that's I'd consider that more environmental, but yes, it still kind of counts, like
yeah.
It's an environmental factor. Like, I mean, if it's cloudy, you're not going to have that issue,
That is an interesting idea, though, of like, that's something that is something to talk about that could infect like a perception check early in the morning, that your players could be making.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's a penalty to perception if you're, because you're traveling in that direction, so your eyes is going to be harder to see. You've also got like a lot of, yeah. I mean, just also the fact that human eyes are really bad with twilight, So, and I would argue probably creatures with dark vision might actually have it even worse.
Yeah, it's that thing about that. No one really talks as much about dark vision. Is dark vision? Yes, I can see, but it's got 60-foot range. After that, it just goes off into total blackness, just like anybody else.
No, in Pathfinder, yes. In D&D, no.
It's also like,
yeah, in D&D, it's 60-foot dark vision. You can see like kind of clearly, but then beyond that, it's like you still have it then. Yeah, it's
still better than nothing.
It's like, yeah, like it counts as like partially concealed or something.
Oh, okay. So it's sort of like it's
yeah,
a slight
so it's like you still.
Yeah.
Well, it's like within that range you can see normally, but then like beyond that, it's like it's kind of just. If I recall correctly, in D&D, it's still kind of just like dark. If you don't have dark vision, screw you.
Yeah. But I think it's that one thing of like, I feel like that comes into like darkness and light and stuff like that, and I feel like dark vision's never, but that's an entire discussion, like dark vision as a discussion, because I feel like it's never quite used correctly, because again, like, isn't it supposed to be black and white? I'm just saying.
Well, it is mentioned that way in D&D, but
anyway, so yeah, lightning flashes. That's definitely a one. Thunder in the background, you know.
oh yeah, weather in like an underdark or underground, like that is something that people kind of don't think about much either, because there is some.
Yes.
Fun fact: you can have fog. Like fog can be a big problem in like an underground situation. You know,
As temperatures change, like shifts in temperatures can occur, and if there's enough humidity, they can have effects localized. Like
Yeah.
fog, definitely one.
There is one cave in China, which is famous for the fact that it actually has clouds. Like it actually forms clouds, like not just like fog, it forms clouds. The reason for that is complicated. But yeah. I feel like in a very big underground situation, you might actually have some of those, because that's the thing. Like an underdark situation in D&D, you tend to have vast cavern.
Yep.
That's actually pretty unrealistic.
It is.
Like in the way like our world actually works, but it's fantasy, so who cares?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to think like there actually could be some weather phenomenons going on. Like you actually can have, like, let's say like, okay, there was a flash flood above, so you got a lot of water coming down from above, so it's basically raining. You know, it's dripping down stalactites and falling. It's probably in bigger clumps, you know, in bigger rather than, you know, like almost like if you're standing under a tree in a rainstorm, how you get those bigger clumps.
Hey, that just made me think of the original Hollow Knight, City of Tears. It's constantly raining there because water is technically falling down from somewhere above where there's like a lake or something, and it creates this kind of rain effect in the area you're in.
Yeah.
That's an example of like it's raining underground. Why? Because of the environment, you know? And it's like that could be like a weather you're having, and that is something that like you can kind of explain naturally, but it's also still very weird and unusual, and you can create these kind of localized things like that. And again, like that's the thing, is also with fantasy, you can create fantasy weather too.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, maybe the rain, and here's the thing, maybe the rain in the Underdark is always acidic because it's pouring through rocks with a lot of acidic chemicals in it. You know, so it's like, oh, rain's coming, we have to get under something, you know?
There were a bunch of things that were kind of incidentally weather related and like environment related and stuff that you guys avoided in Fall of Abbotsford or didn't even look into. And it was kind of interesting, like the ways that you didn't like. It's just like there were things that you wanted to engage with and didn't, and there were some things related to the weather that you didn't engage with too, which was fine. But like it was interesting to see like your reaction to some of the things that were going on, and that was kind of like using weather as a setting and a tool in a lot of ways. And I think that's kind of where you want it to be. Like all things, you also don't want it to distract too much. You know, like I think that's the other thing too, is you can overuse something.
Yep.
Like certainly, like if people are exploring a desert and there's like a sandstorm, that feels kind of logical and neat. You probably don't want that to last forever. You probably want that to be like happening when it would be a little bit strategic and a little bit, this is a part of a story that accents the dangers of traveling through the desert. You know, this is the big story moment for it, rather than this is just hitting me constantly in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that works with a lot of the elements of when you use that weather, you know? Let's see here. What else is there to...
I think it could be really cool if you're doing... I mean, we talked about Hexploration last week.
We did.
And I feel like weather, like you can basically be like, I actually think it'd be really cool to have almost like an overlay of like, oh, there's a big cloud coming from that direction. You guys need, what do you guys want to do? Like you can see it coming and you can have it like move hex by hex over like a few hours as they travel. And basically be like, do you want to try and avoid it? Do you want to go through it?
Yeah.
You know,
you
could probably use that in that situation.
You could track the weather and, you know, use that as a possible thing to change exploration and stuff like that. it's a step up from, you know, you guys hunkering down during a rainstorm, but it's the same kind of concept of, you know, maybe you got a chance to see what's going on and kind of plan out and kind of, you know, use that because, yeah, the weather will slow you down. It might be dangerous, you know. Like I did say, in that region, tornadoes sometimes happen. It's a big open field, you know, and so that could have been a possibility of during a storm you have to worry about that. Or like again, like local flooding that can occur, or stuff that's a result of a lot of rain, or you know, if you're having sudden snowstorms, that's cold snap. You know, there's a lot of things you could do that make it that, depending on how your characters want to, it can be a challenge, but it depends on how they engage that challenge too. And I think that's also the good part about weather, because it's a certain type of problem. It will be that environmental sort of storytelling thing. How much is that going to be a challenge to my players, and also possibly end up being a thing they're going to fight against, depends on how they engage with it. If they like hunker down, they're probably not going to be like get to encounter during it. But if they're going out, you know, like, and maybe going to a place where they could get into a fight, maybe they're getting in a fight, and you're adding the weather on top of that fight, but they're choosing how they much to engage with it. I think that's the other good thing about weather. How much your players engage with the possibility of weather is, in a way, up to them.
I think personally, I think weather. If you're doing any sort of travel, it's important to actually include weather, because I think it's just one, it's a nice touch, and two, it's like you actually do have to make a lot of decisions. Like, okay, we can tell that there's a big cloud coming, storms coming. Do we want to like? And I'm not even talking about like what you did. It can even be like, oh, it's getting close to night. Do we want to push to get to the mountains? You know, like we could probably get, you know, to a better place. Like, do we want to keep pushing to see if we can find better shelter? You know, like maybe like if we, for example, like we could have like marched through the night or something and found the house and hunkered down there or something. You know, assuming it wasn't burned down at that point. And then maybe we would have run into whatever burned down the house. So
yeah, you could have encountered that house, and then, you know, dealt with whatever has happened to it that caused it to burn down. You might be able to stop it from burning down, you know, and then had like a kind of shelter that you could have used. Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh, yeah. Actually, I mean, he talks about pyroclastic flow and like superheated atmosphere and stuff. But you know, there's another thing that reminds me of is sci-fi. We've been talking a lot about fantasy. Sci-fi weather.
Oh god.
You know, have you ever heard about that? There's like, you know, place where it rains molten lead and other place. Actually, I know there's a place. You know, there's a place we found that like rains sorry, not molten glass. It rains glass. Like it literally rains shards of glass.
Weird Star Trek space weather.
Yes.
Just some of that exists in like Star Wars and stuff. Star Wars has some of that too, but Star Trek does a lot of that. Like
Star Trek does a lot more of it. Yeah, plasma storms and, you know, concussive, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and, you know, it's when you get into a lot of things, again, fantasy, sci-fi, you can get a lot of crazy stuff. And sci-fi has a lot of crazy stuff because it has that kind of thing of, we know there's really weird crap that happens in the, you know, universe. You can have characters encounter that kind of thing. Probably not on like a, you know, on a you're going to, when they're going to that place, they're going to expect crap like that is the only thing I can kind of do. Like, you know, you're going to the planet that has the molten lead rain. You know, you're going to the planet with the molten lead rain. You know, it's you're aware of that at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's I think whether. Yeah, I mean, besides the set piece, which we obviously got into. But, like, yeah, and then there's obviously the natural cataclysm. We haven't talked too much about kind of more just the using weather as a tool. Like, let's say you want to make a fight a little harder. Like, you maybe will do a little CR, but then add a weather encounter. Yeah. You know, like, oh, yeah, no, it's raining here, you know, or there's fog or something.
It could be something like it's a area covered in a thick fog, and whatever you're fighting has like a scent, concealment,
or whatever,
and they have senses that they can see you better from. Maybe that's a thing. Or it could be like the heavy rain. makes ranged attacks a little bit more difficult. So, if someone's got ranged, they're having a little bit more trouble. And, it could be that something like snow that's kind of getting on the ground and you have to kind of like move through it, and it makes things slower. And maybe like, and again, it could be for both sides. It could be a bonus that you're putting, that comes down to environment, like, you could put it on both sides, on one side or other, for figuring out who gets affected by it and that kind of thing. Again, that's the classic, Is the weather going to be the environmental effect that is positive or negative to which sides? And ask that kind of questions.
Maybe your players have like maybe you're fighting a creature like maybe your players are tracking a creature which hunts using sound, and then they wait until it's raining, and then they're attacking it in the rain when it's more disoriented.
Yeah. That's good strategy that your players could use to take an advantage.
Yeah. So if you might bring up to the players, it's like, oh yeah, it's been raining periodically, you might use that as a set piece, as like something they could try and think of, you know. Will they? Maybe. Some players are creative.
It is one of those things, is like, certainly speaking, players using stuff to their advantage, especially environment, is definitely one of those ones that the creativity definitely hits it, and you hope that you always hope the players do that. That's, again, on them, and sometimes players are creative, sometimes they're not. You never know.
Yep.
But I think weather is just definitely one of those aspects of wind. I don't think we talked about wind at all. Wind has such effects in so many ways, It doesn't take a lot of wind to make things like flying more difficult, ranged attacks, maybe sometimes hearing if the wind's howling,
Yeah. No, yeah, totally.
I can talk about a tornado, which is a type of wind, but that's really extreme wind.
I mean, I actually think that wind could be a great foreshadowing cue for other weather too, because that is actually pretty common, where it's all like, oh, you're feeling a breeze, and then another hex, it's like, oh, you see some clouds, and then you move another hex, or I'm talking obviously, or another set of distance, and it's like, oh, the clouds look dark, it's like
cold wind travels through you.
Yeah.
Cold and quick.
As it moves forward, and it could also just be used as like, oh, it's a nice breeze today,
It's a refreshing breeze. The weather looks great, even then, that one statement, though it doesn't deal with weather a lot, fits the mood a lot. It's like, if the weather looks good, generally speaking, players are going to be on a more and more upbeat, oh, it looks really nice out, we're having a good time, we're ready for some easy adventures. I think that's the other thing too, is just that little establishing sentence can mean a lot. There's like a rain pelting down on you. It's like, oh man, we're gonna have to slog through the rain. It's just even if you don't use it more than that, just the establishment is the thing.
Yeah, honestly, part of me's kind of wants to now add to my, because I mentioned in the past that I have for session planning, I have a sheet. Part of me wants to add a weather section now, so it's like I always know what the weather is for a session, or have.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah. It's one of those things that, certainly speaking, I think having just a little bit of extra in your mindset is a good thing. Ever think?
Oh my gosh! Actually, I'm gonna tell you right now, Viking. You gave me an idea for my world that I'm totally going to steal. Well, not steal, because it's still my idea.
Because that tends to be planar stuff. Planar stuff gets weird because it's that entire fantasy thing,
Yeah, but that's the idea of weather caused by a plane coming too close to an area. Oh, the a portal opened, and now the plane of air is coming through and causing a lot of gusts. That's another thing you can do.
I could see localized, almost negative energy lightning sparking in an area being very deadly, or a storm which I'd have to dive deeper into the full effects that you'd have on the negative energy plane, because that's something that I haven't reviewed in quite a while, but I can see there being weather in those places again, no.
I mean, my thought of like negative is plain weather is like storms that create lightning bolts that raise the dead. You know,
That'd be kind of cool too. I can see something like that. Like, well, it's sort of like, I see like extreme examples in like various places, like, God, it just, when we talk like something like, let's just use the infinite layers of the abyss, because they're so varied. Like, go to one place like Jubilex's place, where he's the slime lord. I could see, like, the place just raining like acid or like slime constantly,
yeah.
or like, a fog, which is like, like almost feels jello-like, because it's like the fog itself is almost trying to form into like some kind of ooze, but doesn't quite, a coalescing ooze fog, something like extreme and weird like that, like, or like,
it feels like you're walking through water, even though it's like you can breathe fine,
Yeah. It's just little things like that like, you understand the place, and you're creating this like level of weather, which, maybe doesn't really do anything, but makes it feel like this place too. Or maybe it does do something, because you're in a like weird kind of like planar thing.
Yeah. So yeah, like planar influence, or even just being on other planes, like there's definitely a lot you can do with weather there, and get very creative with it.
The Beastlands, where it just actually rains frogs. For like normally in our world, rains frogs because of like weather things pulling up a lake or something. No. Beastlands just rains frogs. Frogs just fall from the sky randomly.
I feel like that could also work on like the plane of chaos. It rains frogs.
Yeah, and pandemonium. Yeah. That's probably too.
Yeah.
It just crazy crap like that you can kind of be creative too, and have an effect on whatever story is going on, and just add to the entire thing. I think that's the other thing about weather too. You can use it to exemplify the area you're in. If you're in a cold place, snow. Why? Because of snow. If you're a place that's very wet, rain. If you're a place that's very like dry, sandstorm. Things like that. It exemplifies the regions and environments you're in, and represents them a lot too.
By the way, I went to India one time, and like, if you've never been in like a monsoon, it's crazy. Like, I want to just bring this up. Like, literally, it's like you're walking, it's sunny, it just gets cloudy, suddenly it's pouring rain to the point of where the streets are flooding, and then it stops just as suddenly. It's crazy. It's like, it feels sci-fi being in that situation.
It's one of those things that like you have to experience strange things with weather to understand them. Like, I think it's one of those things. It's sort of like I use this as a simple, not as crazy as your example, but I always use it as an example of I flew into Arizona, and I get out, and this is Phoenix. It is incredibly hot, but it doesn't feel hot, because it's so dry, and you hit that environment, and you feel that environment. And again, it's sort of like, yes, normally you adapt to that environment a lot more, but that kind of like switch in environment can be a lot quicker than you think too sometimes. Yeah. I think that's the other thing too, is you can be walking along and things are just going to be different quicker than you think sometimes.
Yep.
And that's more extreme example, but it's another one of those things, is you can use that, because that is like the weather and stuff and the environment and stuff. You can use that to hit your place.
like monsoon, like a monsoon is very much a thing that happens in India. Like, people there, it's like, and it requires technically certain environmental factors to happen. You don't have to care about that as a GM though. You can have fun. You could just say this area gets monsoons and you're fine.
It's like me developing rivers that, like, when we actually like research them, they're very incredibly rare and stuff like that, and weird. Yeah. And I'm like, it's fine, it's fantasy, it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the river splits. I thought this was a converging. Okay. Yeah. How would that work? Yeah.
It could. Yeah, it's actually, not normal.
You saying Arizona reminded me of another weather phenomenon that we haven't talked about: dust storms.
Ah, yes.
And sandstorms.
Yeah, I kind of talked about sandstorms, but like the least the dust storm is the less extreme example of that, I think, where it's not as where you still get a lot of that material in the air and you're still getting hit by it, but it's not like choking you out. Like a sandstorm, that's overwhelming you. It's
a
choking
sandstorm is when you get that wave, you know, like that crazy wave that you see pictures of.
Mhm.
A dust storm is just where it picks up and it's annoying. I think I've actually been in a dust storm before.
Yeah.
So I live in California, so it's like I'm near deserts.
And that like will affect what's going on in the story and stuff like that too. And so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that also not just, you know, city setups. Sometimes natural setups can also create flooding in areas.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, there's a lot of research into floodplains and stuff and dams, and that's, you know, prevent that kind of stuff. So
flooding definitely can be one of those issues that can happen too. And you know, it's
like because all the rain pours into one area, so like it floods really fast, even in light rain.
It's one of those things that like because you hunkered down, you might have had to deal with because like, especially because you were getting in that hilly area where there's those low-lying areas that probably flood a whole bunch when it rains. Because I was saying like, oh, in between the hills, there's protected areas where there's like trees and more plants growing up, and there's probably that's where some water accumulates down in there when there's these big rainstorms and stuff like that. Oh, hey, if you had checked those out and really like gone down into them instead of like, because I thought you were just like walking in like a lot of the open plains and avoiding those, you know, simply just keeping it simple. But you know, it's again storytelling stuff. But anyway, we should probably finish up for today and talk about our week in gaming, which really we've talked about a bunch of Fall of Adam as well, so we can kind of summarize that. But then you have your Saturday game because we skipped Joe's game. But that's our.
Well, I don't have my Saturday game this week. I didn't have it today.
That's true. Hey, your sand flood idea?
Yeah, Sand Rivers, sand flood. You could all. Yeah, I
the
just like the
Sea of Silt in Dark Sun does that.
Oh yeah, that is a thing. Yeah.
There's literally it is a dust sea that is being mildly influenced by the plane of water, not enough to make it actually liquid, but that's kind of why it acts kind of like water, because of like leftover influence from the plane of water when everything dried up.
So there's a cool thing you can do with science to make sand swimmable, and it has to do with pumping air below it. And my thought is like you could do something like that in a world where it's all like oh yeah, no, kind of just for whatever reason, like, you know, there's air that gets pumped in this region, like air is just constantly flowing from underground. Maybe there's like a plane of air portal in the ground somewhere.
There's a lot of cool ideas and directions to like,
and it creates like stand weather.
There's some really cool ideas you can do for weather, definitely, and some very fanciful ones, you know. And again, it's fantasy. There's magic. You don't have to necessarily enjoy your best physics. Or it's sci-fi. Yep. There's weird space science that no one understands. You know?
I mean, like that's the thing with sci-fi. It's all like we discover weird stuff all of the time. Have fun. You know?
I only had for our tabletop this week. I had Fall of Adam as well, so I guess was that all you had too?
That's all I had too.
Yeah, because we. Is this a
IGM wanted to go to some protests.
This would have This would have been a Joe's game week, but we just didn't have it because of for good reasons, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to. No, it would have been last week. Not like the last Sunday. Like last Sunday would have been okay, or would have been Joe's. Oh no, yeah, last Sunday would have been Joe's game. You're right.
Because we're not having it
and
this
the next
Sunday.
Sunday is and the next Sunday is going to be Joe's game.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm not gonna lie.
This month has felt super fast.
Yeah, super fast. So yeah. No, we had Wednesday. I think it was a good one overall. I don't think it was too drug out. I was trying to make it a very interesting kind of time of traveling, and it was.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I was trying not to have it take too long, and I hope I did it just enough time. And I felt like arriving.
I feel like we're obviously going to get there at the beginning of towards the beginning of next game.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to be much. It's not going to be long to arrive at your location. You pretty much took the travel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was a little empty, but that might also be because we just didn't pick up on any of the cues. I feel like that also might be very possible.
It's there's a lot of little interesting things that I set up for possible encounters with stuff that you just kind of ignored. There were other things that you did kind of half encounter, which wasn't bad. Like there was stuff with various wolf creatures, you know, the guy, whatever people were following you, kind of, maybe. There was a lot of random lightning in the clouds I kept mentioning. That was a thing. The farmhouse, which you rested before getting to, which was you chose to basically wait to get to, and so it burned out.
I'm gonna be honest. We kind of got like I got the impression, and probably everyone else was, where it's all like, oh, it's already burnt down. Like it's kind like I get that we could have probably
something. Yeah.
No. I actually totally get that now, but like in the moment, I was all like, well, it's kind of just smoking at this point. It's smoldering. Is what I think we all kind of were on the page of. And I'm not saying, I actually think it's totally fair that you could have been like, because you said the smoke was still quite intense, so I get that like we didn't want to go in there. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Maybe we should have tried to put it out, like whatever was left out. You know, I didn't really think about that until afterwards.
It's the kind of
when
thing
you're like, oh yeah, it's now completely burnt down. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe we could have done some more.
You have to think about like it's the old coals at the bottom of a fire which are still smoking and stuff like that. There's still a little bit left that you can probably salvage, and by like letting it completely burn out itself, it's just gonna be gone. And that's kind of what you did. You let it burn out the rest of the way. So I'm like, well, it's like gone.
Yep.
Which was fine. Cool. You know,
we missed the magical loot that was sitting in the bottom of the coals because it finally burned.
Yeah, I don't think I was gonna have anything quite that interesting, but who knows? Maybe I would have put loot in there. I had some basic ideas, and
and there were those tracks which we probably could have followed if we wanted to.
Yes,
if we wanted to.
You could have investigated those a little bit more too. It's another little thing.
I realized that we probably could have like tried to ambush the people who were following us. That's something I considered.
Yes. There were
later.
a lot of little breadcrumbs that I like left open, and
we just ignored.
So many of
like
them.
It is funny that like I don't know what it was. Like last week, it's like it was definitely one of those times where as a GM you're like, I planned for this and nothing happened.
It was none of these were going to be like super crazy stuff. I'm going to say, you know, that's the kind of thing.
I know they were all going to be like little mini things, but
but it was very interesting to see that like you didn't encounter any of them.
Yep.
It very well was like a very interesting thing. But I think it was fine. And like you did make some good choices at the beginning. Like getting the birds and getting like any kind of horse or something was a good idea. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. It made things definitely less difficult in a lot of ways. So
yeah. Because I think just us as players, we were waiting for something to happen. We weren't actively thinking in like an active sense. And I'm not saying that's a fault of yours. Honestly, I feel like that's more of a fault of ours. We were super passive. We were kind of waiting for something to happen.
It was a thing that like I was setting up for stuff, but you never did anything to interact in any way with a lot of that stuff. So I think what it would have been is you didn't have to do a lot. If you had looked a little bit, it would have interacted with you kind of things in a lot of these places.
Oh, no, I know. Like that's the thing. Like there's kind of this thing where it's all like, you know, you have to take 2 steps, but we didn't even do that. You know, it's just, it happens. Like, again, as someone who GMs, like, I totally get it, and I totally get how annoying that is.
I think it was fine though overall.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying you were annoyed. I'm just saying it's like there's kind of that little bit of
it was for me. It wasn't that bad because I basically had the path and was going to go through the path, and I had a kind of like a list of little things I wanted to do for you. But like I just basically had some ideas, and I was just gonna have to like if I needed to throw things together, I had to throw things together.
You made extemporaneous things.
You know, I was okay with you not exploring anything because I didn't have to develop anything. It's kind of like that. It's like, it's fine. You don't have to do anything. I don't have to like throw together some stat blocks, you know, or like, you know, add an extra thing on top of it, you know. But like, if you wanted to encounter those things, I would have been fine with it. But no, I think it was fun. I think it was good. And it was a nice little like possible change of a pace, and like, you know, here's the weird thing. It was a difference from the last time we played, because last time we played, we were like, yeah, we're going to get some fights. And this time we're like, yeah, we're not going to get some fights.
Yeah, it was very much like, we kind of just want to get where we're going, you know? We were in that kind of mood.
Yep. Look, I don't know the mood you guys will ever have, so I just have to play it by ear. That's what I have to say.
Totally, that's kind of how it works.
Yep.
Yeah, as a GM.
And then I guess that was all we had this week then, because we didn't have Joe's game and you didn't have your game today. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, light week. Oh,
Light
well.
week. Yeah. So I guess we'll leave things there. That's a little end of our week then. So thank everybody that kind of hung out, joined us, joined in the chats. And thank you, Worm, for joining me as usual. I'll throw the shout out if you want to give yours here.
Yeah. I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky, and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube. Hopefully someday I'll get that changed to just DiamondWyrm.
It's a process that takes a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, my next stream should be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT.
Nice.
Because I tend to stream in the mornings for me.
Yeah. And for myself, hello, you're on my channel. Hey, make sure to check out the links. If you're over on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. And I will definitely be getting more of the videos out on YouTube side of things. As for streaming, hey, I will be back on Tuesday. I'll probably be doing more Silksong. I will definitely be adding in something Halloween related. I might just do another, as I said, run of Resident Evil 2, the randomizer, the Biorand randomizer. Maybe the week, Halloween week. That might be fun. Just because I didn't get anything else spooky this week. I like the Biorand randomizer. We'll see. Figure it out. Anyway, but that'll probably be when I'm back next. And should be normal schedule next week. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Oh, and hey, always make sure to join us next week if you can. If not, just check us out on YouTube side for the box. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Until the next time, bear well and goodbye.
Bye.